Morning again. Thank you for that beautiful music. So many self-help books and New Age books profess that you can be anyone you want, you can do anything you put your mind to. How many of you believe that? Okay. I want to take a closer look into what we think that might mean. I mean, we honor all opinions, but I just always like to look at different views. So, I know that even with the greatest voice lessons, I could not pull off singing like Mary McCray. Now, I don't think anybody needs, and even great singers, you have your unique divine imprint. But that passion that comes from her, I mean, can you not see that that is a gift of song? It's not just a musician, right? So, and probably if I love to sing in the shower, and I love to sing in the car, and I even sometimes, even though I may back away from the podium, love to sing here. And so if I pursue that for all the reasons, because it's prestigious or whatever that may be, I would be like a fish out of water. And I wouldn't feel very fulfilled because I wasn't following something that was authentically alive in me. And Thomas Merton shares this exquisite quote that really gets right to the heart of me and makes me question if that's really true. Thomas Merton is a mystic, a Trappist monk. He was a counselor, a writer, and he shares, every man has a vocation to be someone, but he must understand clearly that in order to fulfill this vocation, he can only be one person himself. I'm going to say that again and allow the female energy to come in. Every woman has a vocation to be someone, but she must understand clearly that in order to fulfill this vocation, she can only be one person herself. And he continues by saying, discovering vocation does not mean scrambling towards some prize just beyond my reach, but accepting the treasure of true self I already possess. Vocation does not come from a voice out there calling me to be something I'm not. It comes from a voice in here, calling me to be the person I was born to be. I think Lady Gaga has a song about that. To fulfill the original selfhood given to me at birth by God, by the divine. I want to look at those words again. The treasure of true self I already possess within me. It is there. And all too often in society, I touched on this last week, we are grasping for what appears sexy or glamorous, what will get us on the New York Times bestseller list, or on the Billboard Top 50, or will earn us X amount of dollars. And again, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you are fulfilling that which is most alive within you and bringing that forth. Because lots of times, if we do that, we may make that money, but we will never be truly fulfilled. And lots of drama will show up in different places. And so I would like us again to take a look at that word vocation as Thomas Merton spoke of. It is not just about a career, although our careers can be a great vehicle of expression. Vocation is that divine calling, that sacred calling within us. It is something within us that is seeking expression. It is allowing our divine nature, our true nature, to be expressed freely in the world. Charles Fillmore called it our Christ potential. The yoga tradition calls it Dharma, your sacred duty, your sacred calling. And so, we deep down know this, do we not? That we, each and every one of us, has unique and innate gifts. How many of you believe that? And I also want to read something that is very beautiful from the book, The Great Work of Your Life, written by Stephen Cope, where he shares, scientists even know this. Scientists tell us that every brain is like a fingerprint, utterly unique. So too, every nervous system has its own complex idiosyncrasy. Every human mind, every human body, every spirit. We might say that every person's dharma is like an eternal fingerprint. It is the subtle interior blueprint of the soul. Just imagine, just savor these words. Within me is a unique fingerprint of divine magnificence. Say that with me. Within me is a unique fingerprint of divine magnificence. Now, I've kind of struggled with that at different points, doubted that at different points of my life. But somewhere deep inside, that is always something that has been so alive. I think Sharon spoke beautifully before, where she was trying to figure out what was her authentic expression, right? It's that call to that authenticity of self. And I remember when I was first finished my counseling degree, there was a group of people who were studying to be guest speakers or maybe pursue the ministerial field. And this group happened to time each other, have a particular formula of how to be, even looked at how you should dress, how you flip the papers. And at that time, I didn't really think I was going to go into ministry. But I remember saying, wow, where's the room for divine expression of authenticity? Cookie cutter ministers? No, thank you. And I remember also when I was studying in one particular university, we had to study, at the time it was a DSM-4, so rigorously. We had to find the disease, look for the disease, look for what's wrong in every person. Just wasn't what was alive in me. How about let's look for what is authentically awake and right with every person. So it led me to pick myself up out of that university, 3 courses in, and go to another university that trained in a whole other way, was looking at the individual as the expert, and you are the guide on the side, bringing that forth. That sounds so right and real, and it resonated deep within my being. So how many of you, even though know, deep inside that there is no one like you. No one can express the beauty of you, the uniqueness of you. Nobody has the same divine fingerprint as you. How many of you believe that? Right? How many of you fall short from living that? We are plagued with doubt very frequently. Stephen Coates speaks so beautifully to that in the book, The Great Work of Your Life. Now, if we look to Webster's dictionary for the definition of doubt, we will find words like mistrust, fear, and lack of self-confidence. So when we are in doubt of that truth of us, we at times fear our greatness. We fear that if we don't participate in the family business, we will not be loved. We will not be accepted by our tribe. And there's many times we doubt, even though we know it's up here. Really, do I have divine gifts that are anything special? And so then he goes exquisitely into three types. He wants to be clear about the distinction of doubt that he is referring to. So he goes to two spiritual texts. One is the Gita, and the second one is the Catholic Encyclopedia. So I'd like to share those definitions of doubt with you. From the Bhagavad Gita, a thought or a belief that touches both sides of a dharma at the same time, thereby creating the silent affliction of paralysis, being stuck straight in the middle on the fence. Right? Not knowing which way shall I go. Correct, Dave. And then the Catholic Encyclopedia states, very similar. A state in which the mind is suspended between two contradictory propositions and unable to ascend to either of them. Doubt is opposed to certitude. Certitude is the adhesion of the mind to a proposition without misgiving as to its truth, without a shadow of a doubt. Gives light to that new meaning. So what would your life look like if you lived in certitude? In certitude of your divinity, in certitude of your gifts, in certitude of the actions you must take. And so, doubt is actually part of our spiritual journey. And like everything, there is goodness that can be gleaned. When we're driving, I use this example a lot, and we have on our dashboard, we have our odometer, we have our gas meter, the engine meter, and they are just there to register information. What would it be like if fear and doubt, when it came up, would be like, oh, it is just there to register information. Somewhere, I am not living authentically. Or there's a call for me to step into more authenticity. Let me take a look at this doubt. Let me make friends with this doubt. Let me call upon my spiritual power of understanding to see what is here to teach me, to glean the goodness of this, so that I may move forward. And many of us think, well, if I don't know, don't do anything. And so we falsely believe that we're not taking any action. But we can never not be taking action. We're taking action against the very thing. And slowly, a little bit at a time, we are dying to ourselves. We are imploding. great work of your life, he talks about 3. There's many forms of doubt, right? Before I go there, I just want to mention something Charles Fillmore said. He said our life work, yes, is to reach our Christ potential, but he said we must distinguish the who and the what of who we are. Say, what, right? Who is our personality? The roles, mom, dad, teacher, doctor, nurse. It is also the projections of who people think we should be, the world should be, our family thinks we should be. And then the what of us is unchangeable. That is our divine fingerprint, our essence. And choosing between those sets up the perfect conflict, and lots of times where we're at crossroads, where we doubt, should I listen to the world out there, or should I listen to what is alive in me? We're not really taught that. A lot of the young children here are taught that from the beginning. Many of us have not been taught that, but it's never too late to have that fullness of that understanding and that knowing. And so he talks about 3 types of being stuck. 3 types of doubt. One is called closing the door. The second one is denial of Dharma. And then the third one he speaks of is close but no cigar. Or missing the mark. Okay? So the first one, closing the door. That is when we are at a place in our life where we know something is over. It's not working. The relationship's not working. Where we are in our life with a career is not working. A pattern of behavior, playing small, or being subservient, or being demanding, it's not working. We must close the door on that. So we're faced with that inner suffering of knowing, I'm not alive here. But then the fear of what will my loved one think? Will people still accept me? Will I still be able to make money? Well, after all, this relationship, it's really hard to find another guy or a woman. It's not really that bad. Or, I have a great retirement package. I only have 5 more years of this hell. It'll be done before you know it. But little by little, there's something within us that is dying and stopping us. Let me move to the second kind that it refers to, which is denial of Dharma. That is when we really don't understand what a spiritual calling is, or understand our spiritual gifts, or even believe that we have that divine fingerprint. And he has a story in the book, a woman named Ellen, who has the gift of generosity. She has the gift of the ultimate, beautiful, selfless caregiver. And by career, she works in the psychic ward in a hospital. And she is tender and giving and patient and kind. And she's even seen in town, she works at the food bank, and she invites people over for all kinds of holidays, and it just pours out of her that generosity of spirit. And even some of her friends would say, is this for real? Like, can somebody be that loving and kind? Right? When we say to somebody, is this for real? Did I just see Mary sing that song? Or we say lots of times when somebody has that gift of that caregiver, that selflessness of giving, oh, they just don't know how to say no. I've heard it. One of my archetypes is the sacred servant. And I know I have to be careful of the shadow side of that. But I would hear in my life, she just doesn't know how to say no. Really? Well, maybe that might be true sometimes, but can I tell you when that's the case? Right? We don't see other gifts. And so this woman, Ellen, didn't think she had anything special going on. She didn't even know she was living her dharma. Because her brother was this famous publisher, and her father was impressed with him, and the family was impressed with him, and she lived in the shadows and never felt like she measured up. So here she is living her dharma, but what Stephen Cope says, when we fully name it and claim it, breathe it and live it, we empower it even more. Then we move into the third kind he talks about, and that is close but no cigar, or missing the mark. And that would be like, we hear many different stories. Let's say there is a roadie who sets up and breaks down for a musical band. And this particular individual we'll call Alex is an incredible songwriter, right? And loves music. And he's close to music that he loves. He engages in the music that he loves, but he does not bring forth that songwriting to its full expression. He's close. But to live fully in his center is what would be most alive. And so I would like to close today where there is also support about this divine fingerprint from 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verses 7 through 11. The Holy Spirit is given to each of us in a special way. That is for the good of all. To some people, the Spirit gives the gift of wisdom. To others, the same Spirit gives the gift of knowledge. To others, the same Spirit gives the gift of faith. To others, that one Spirit gives the gifts of healing. And to others, he gives the power to do miracles. And to others, he gives the ability to prophecy. To others, he gives the ability to tell spirits apart. To others, he gives the ability to speak in different kinds of languages they had not known before. And in still others, he gives the ability to explain what was said in those languages and breaks it down exquisitely. All these gifts are produced by one and the same Spirit. So, my friends, I invite you to ask yourself, am I living my Dharma full out? Where am I living in the energy of doubt? What doors am I afraid to close? Am I close to living my full essence, my gifts? How can I move more squarely into it? So I invite you into all of that this week, claiming your magnificence and your elegance and your beauty, knowing you are powerfully awesome. Namaste.